Hi, I'm Brie, the Creative Minds Coach, and today I'm going to talk about how to make critiques easy. So, getting feedback on our work or our art is an important part of the creative process. Often, I think some of us tend to avoid critiques because we might not know how to approach them without leaving feeling defeated or strained. And the good news is that it can be an easy process. So, today I'm going to walk you through the steps to make the process more helpful so you can get the growth that you want. So, I always begin a process for kind of dissecting something by asking questions. I ask a lot of questions, and that's not going to be any different today. So, first, I'm going to ask you why? Why do we want critiques or to get feedback in the first place? So I think it's important to understand like what the purpose behind it is. So some of the reasons that I see, and you may have more, are that someone else can show you what you can't see. And that's probably because they are going to give you an alternate view or an opinion. And sometimes here we're like so close to our work. I mean, this is our baby. These are our babies, right? This is our passion. And we just get so close to it that it's hard to kind of separate ourselves in a way that we can really see where some of the holes are or where we can even be improving. And to go with that, it's so we can have improvement, right? We want to see what others have to say so that we can grow as artists. So, where do we get this? Where do we go to get feedback or to get critiques? And there are such a variety of places. The first is in the public. And so one of the places that I've gone are some forums. You can go on forums. I participate in a paid one. You can also go onto social media. I mean, who says you can't go onto Twitter and just say, "Hey, everyone, what do you think?" Or what about this on this photograph? Okay, so the public, and anytime we put our work on our websites, on social media, or anywhere that's public, we open ourselves up to critique. Now, this part that I'm going to talk about is critique that we seek after. At the end, I'll briefly discuss. I'm going to briefly discuss unsolicited feedback. Okay, so the other place that we can get feedback is one-to-one. So, I met with someone the other day and I was looking at some images and I said, "Hey, can I ask you about this composition? We can do that." They're also a friend. And so this could be one and the same, right? And also I have paid mentors to also give me feedback. I submit X amount of images and I know there are also critique groups and things like that. And so you can ask friends, you can ask your peers, and critiques would also be if you were in school or if you were in some sort of training where you were also getting feedback. Okay, so that is solicited feedback because you actively sought the training. Okay, but the important thing to remember in all of this is you want to ask for feedback from people that you trust. And this is what you want to pay attention to, right? Who do I trust? Whose opinion do I value? And that's where you want it. That's where you want to be here. Okay, so there's another question. Our third question here is prepare. How exactly do we prepare to get feedback? And sometimes I think part of the reason that critiques can feel so difficult is we aren't mentally prepared to participate in them or to receive the feedback. So do not skip this step. This is a really important part of the process. And you want to mentally prepare so that you can go into it with a really healthy mindset. Okay, so how do you do that? First, check your expectations. What are you expecting? Are you expecting someone to validate your opinion, your own opinion about your work versus them giving theirs? I think so many times when we feel frustrated in a feedback session or even afterwards, it's because the the person giving the feedback didn't tell us what we expected. So if you can clear some of these or all of them, okay, some of my expectations are that they'll give me helpful feedback. So I do expect that. But if you can clear out some of the other expectations, you will be less frustrated in the process. That's partly how you can make it easy. Okay. So another way to prepare is just decide to come with an open mind and be curious. Be curious about what the other person has to say and being open to some new ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of before. And really, when we can mentally prepare and be open, and even now when I say open, did you hear my voice change? And I felt my shoulders dropped. I was like, yeah, I feel more open. So that kind of feeling where you're a little bit more relaxed, you drop your expectations, and then it's even actually easier to begin any session or any feedback that we're going to get in the process when we receive it. It'll just feel easier because we're relaxed, we're more open, and we're ready. Okay, so the next part of the process, here we go. Did you notice I'm a hand talker? All right. That's why I chose to stand today. So the next part is actually receiving the critique. How do we do that? So we want to, after we kind of drop all the expectations and we come into it with this open and curious mind, we want to stay that way. We 100% want to stay that way. Sometimes I find myself tensing up and I have to tell myself, just relax and let's be open to what they have to say. I'm curious about that, about their opinion. So stay this way, stay in that space. And you know how you can stay in that space is by asking questions. For me, curiosity is asking questions or even thinking, I wonder why they're saying that. I wonder if there's some truth to that. And you can even start asking yourself mental questions to help you stay in that space. Okay, and guess what? All we're doing when we're having like a critique session or getting feedback from somewhere, all we're doing is collecting information. For me, this idea makes the actual receiving of the feedback very neutral. Like, I'm not going to have any judgment right now about my work. I'm just going to listen to what they say and not make it mean anything. I'm just literally collecting information about what someone else has to say. Okay. That is super helpful for me. So collect information. And here's the last part that I just touched on. If you find yourself frustrated, your shoulders a little painful, feeling a little strained, you may be in this space where words are meaning what they're saying is causing you to have a judgment about your own work. Okay, so I just want to tell you, and I don't think enough people are saying this, words from anyone, someone who is giving you the feedback, words don't mean anything until you decide they do. So if you are feeling any kind of strained and you're thinking, oh, it's terrible, they're saying terrible things about my art, it's because you decided that your art is terrible. I know sometimes these are some hard truths, but this is why I'm here. This is something I'm here to talk about. No one else gets to decide what happens with your art except you. And when you make someone else's words mean something about your art, it's you deciding and making a judgment about your own work. You can post comments about that in all the comments. Tell me what you think about that, okay? All right. Or in this moment, just let it sink in a little bit. Be curious about what that might mean for you. Okay, so after we receive all the feedback, we've stayed open, we've asked the questions, we've just collected information, and we're not making anything anyone says mean anything about our art. And we don't even have to make a judgment right then about our work. None of our work sucks, or even you don't even have to go to like it's totally amazing. You can if you want to, but you can just wait. All right? So until we do the evaluation. So the last part is after the feedback has been given, then we get to evaluate the feedback. This sometimes happens really fast and we make a quick judgment, but I think it's going to be really helpful for you to stay in this space where you're also still open and curious, right? And we're asking ourselves more questions. What did you like about the feedback that was given? Was there something that you liked that you might want to keep? So this is where we evaluate all that information. Is there something that you liked? Did you not like any of it? And if you didn't find yourself not liking any of it, maybe stop and pause for a minute and ask yourself, was there any truth in it that you might be resisting? Was there something that you might be resisting that maybe could be more helpful for you to improve your work that you're pushing against? Okay. Maybe there isn't. Maybe you just want to throw it all away, and that's totally fine too. So, but we just want to ask ourselves these questions. What did I like? And if you didn't like it, was there any truth in it? Okay. So, and you may even in this process want to write these things down, do some evaluation. All right. And then what was your takeaway? What is your takeaway from the feedback or the critique? Like, what are you going to take away, and how are you going to use this information that you collected? All right. How are you going to use that? And the last part I want to say is, are you feeling pain? This kind of goes back to here. Are you feeling any pain? When you are doing the evaluation and you're thinking about all the things that someone said, are you feeling any discomfort or negative emotions or any pain? And if you are, it's not because of something that they said. It's not because of the words. It's because you are making your own judgment about your art. You are making your own judgment. You've taken all the information that they said, and you are deciding what it means. Okay? Also, you can comment about that in the comments. But let this sink in. Nothing anyone says can mean anything to us unless we make it mean something. All right? So that's the process. Ask yourself why you're doing it. Question where you're going to get it. Figure out how to prepare. So have an open mind, right? You want to go into critique with a healthy mindset. You want to receive while you're being open and curious. And then at the end, you want to evaluate. Now, actually, here's what I want to say in this last part is what happens when we are here. Let me go back. What happens when we are back here? Okay. And we post it, we share something publicly. Let's just be honest. If we're on YouTube, we're also on Instagram or Twitter or any place else, Facebook, wherever, any other social media place. Okay. So we are always opening ourselves up to unsolicited feedback. So what do we do then? Okay. So maybe we don't need to understand the why, right? Because it's unsolicited. We haven't asked for it. We're not asking to improve from someone. It's not asked. Okay. We already know where we're getting it. So those two aren't really relevant unless there's something in here that you think should be. But here's the thing. Here's the part of the process where this would be really helpful. How are you going to prepare for it? Because often I find myself surprised. Wait, what did they say? So let's not be surprised when people give us some unsolicited feedback. But how are you going to prepare for that? Maybe you could decide today, right now, that anytime someone gives you feedback that you didn't ask for, that you are just going to be open and curious rather than be mad or anything else, right? And you're just going to be open and curious about what they had to say. Maybe it's even like, I wonder why they decided to mention that. And remember, you can just relax because anything that someone has to say, it's really just their own opinion. Okay, let's go here. It doesn't mean anything about your work unless you decide it does. All right, so if you want to, this is how you can receive it. You can just decide for the unsolicited feedback. You can just decide to totally drop it. You can, in this evaluation part, this is all kind of, anyway, but you can decide whether or not it means something, okay? You could ask questions back to someone, right? And you can decide if there's any information worth collecting. So this is kind of all like receiving it and evaluating at the same time. And if you decided you want to take something away from it and make a change to your work, you can. It might be helpful. Someone might see something for me, like, okay, I'm a landscape photographer. If I posted something on social media and someone came on and said, hey, I noticed your horizon is crooked, I would think, ooh, did I do that on purpose? Maybe I want to fix that. Okay, so that's an easy fix, right? So just anyone who sees this, if you see a crooked horizon, just please let me know because I definitely want to fix that. Okay, so because it's so rare that we use a crooked horizon. Anyway, I digress. But so here's the thing. In this evaluation, you get to decide if you want to use any of the information that you collected. Maybe you are asking questions. Maybe you don't trust. Remember back to where we get it, the trust? Maybe you don't actually trust who's giving it to you. And so you just decide that it's not worth even doing any of this, right? And here's the bottom line is when we get unsolicited feedback, it doesn't mean anything about our work unless we make it mean something, unless we decide, right? This is your own judgment. You get to decide what to do with your work. So just relax, have so much fun, right? And that's how you can make all of this easy. You just follow this process. Sometimes having a process can make things easy. So write all this down and take this process into the next time you go looking for feedback on your art. So share with me in the comments what you think about any of this. I would really be interested to know. And also, before I go, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to my email list and join my creative circle. And when you do, you can get immediate access to free, secret, subscriber-only videos where I teach even more in depth. And do you know what this week is? It's building confidence through self-critique. I just have been working on this myself and I wanted to share it with all of my subscribers. So you can join by clicking the link in the description below. All right, that's it. Go get some critique, try this out and see if it makes it more easy for you. That's all I have for you today. Bye.